environment they created here with the big crowd, you know. So yeah, it was always going to be a tough nut to crack here tonight with a big crowd like that. I've been to Loftus a few times when it's been this type of environment, and it's not easy to get a win. And I thought they were pretty tough, particularly in their defence. But we were just off a little bit in attack.
How disappointed were you with that particular period of play when the Bulls were short of their plays and still the points just weren't coming?
Yeah, that's right. You know, so we got on the goal line a couple of times, but they held us out. So yeah, it was frustrating. And I think there's a couple of moments when they got some territory on us as well, and I actually think they got 3 points out of it when they had 14 men. So yeah, they did well with the yellow cards that they had, and we didn't really take those opportunities.
John, do you feel that you missed the presence of Eben tonight, just in terms of, I mean, you've got a leader on the field in Sia, but just his presence all around in a game that you did not tonight?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I say, he's the best lock in the world as far as I'm concerned, and you know, he's our captain, and you know, he inspires others around him. You know, when he's in our group, you know, it's probably a different pack in a way. You know, so. It was a massive loss for us, and Jason Jenkins as well, who's played so well this year. So, two big men, you know, that two guys that carry really well for us, and you know, can win ball. And yeah, it was a big loss missing those two big boys this week.
John, I mean, I know the emotions are probably still raw, and it's maybe a bit early to ask this, but if you just look back at the season, your season's now ended now. And the one thing that keeps on coming up when people talk about the Sharks is everyone's just waiting for this team of stars to click. Do you feel that you guys are closer than you were last season, and just your thoughts on the season as a whole?
Yeah, tough season, you know, like we're learning a lot. You know, my second year in the URC, real tough periods of the season, particularly after the internationals, November series, and then you got those championship cup games, and then we've got a box coming back and they're tired. So how we can compete in that tournament with players that have just had 14, 15 internationals is a challenge. Some players, and then after Christmas, you know, they go through their Springbok resting, you know, and then it's navigating that period, you know, with the rest of the team when we don't have those players available, you know, and then it's when you do get everyone finally back in, it's just where you're sitting on the log, how you can sort of progress to work towards, you know, qualifying for semis and both competitions maybe, quarters and semis and finals. So yeah, it's having a large group of Springboks. And navigating them through a busy URC and Champions Cup season post those internationals is quite a challenge. So the key for us is to make sure that we've got the depth in our squad to be able to, you know, do well without them. You know, and I think we've showed that this year. But it's going to be a continual challenge for us to keep strengthening the squad. So that we can do that. I think we've done really well this year with, you think about some of the wins that we've had against, you know, this team, you know, with you know, we weren't full strength by any means, and we've picked up wins, and but yeah, it's a coaching the Shark side is not for the faint-hearted. It keeps me awake at night. That's for sure.
Sorry.
No, you're right.
I was going to say, on that, I know you've never been one for excuses, but do you think that the 100 minutes last week and all the emotion of that plus the altitude maybe played a factor in you guys' game?
No, I didn't think we managed the week differently, but we kept pretty much similar plan to what we had anyway, so we didn't want to do a lot of new learning this week, with especially being compromised in terms of field time. So yeah, it's nothing I haven't been through before as a coach, but we had a few little niggles during the week. You know, we had a bit of flu, and Jordan had a hip pointer that prevented him from training. a couple of times. So it was sort of like and then obviously losing Eben as well was a bit of a niggly sort of a week. Wasn't the perfect prep by any means, but yeah, like I say, I'm not using that as an excuse. We had a plan to come here and do well against this team, and at half time I was pretty confident. You know, we were starting to get our game going. We had the opportunities, we had the territory we needed. Thought the Bulls were starting to look under pressure, and half time I was really confident, and it was a case of putting the reserves on, or impact on, and building that scoreboard pressure, but we just weren't quite accurate enough, and they managed to get that try that sort of broke our backs with about 15 to go, and then it was really gone then. But yeah, we were just a bit off our game in attack tonight, and even some of our defence wasn't quite on the money as well. So you could say that there was a massive game in Durban last week, 100 minutes, but we won't use that as an excuse. We could have been a little bit better tonight.
Cool. So 3 more questions. We'll take one from Ross. We'll come to Ken. And finish up with GNC.
John, last season was a little bit of a disaster. You guys did win the Challenge Cup, but 14th in the URC. So when you made your plans at the start of this season, do you feel now that you guys have made that step up that you needed to now get that progression that you're talking about? Third on the URC log, first hosting of a playoff, and first URC semi-final?
Yeah, look, I mean, last year was, last year I didn't know anything about the URC when I come here as a coach, and I had to break in a management team, a coaching team. We had a whole lot of players that by the end of the season exited out. They were good enough in my mind to be in the squad, and then we went about trying to strengthen it, and we brought some good players in, and we've finished at this point. So if you're asking me if it's a better season, yes, it is a better season. The Champions Cup is not good. It's not good for us right now because of the injuries that we had over that period, and that again is on the back of the massive Springbok campaign that they come back to us. So we have to work out how we can do better in that competition, because I know there's been a lot of publicity, I guess, media talking a lot about how poor the South African teams are in this competition, but it's got to be an even playing field, and right now you'd argue whether it is right now. So we have to work out how we can be better in the Champions Cup, because the players really do want to compete in that tournament. They really want to be there on that big stage at the end, but we've just got to work out how we can do it, and need a little bit of luck, So we had, I think, 18, 19 injuries at the Sharks at one stage. It was a bit of a crisis, and we sort of worked our way through it, and got to this point. But then, not having Grant Williams, not having Eben tonight, two of our best players, was probably a bit of a tough for the boys.
Okay.
John, you mentioned the attack just being a bit off tonight. What do you feel was missing there?
I think sometimes we played a little bit too deep when we had momentum, and sometimes we played a little bit too flat when we didn't have momentum, and it was just it was just a little bit. We just didn't quite have the quick enough ball and enough players coming on to the ball like we did. We did for parts of the game, but we didn't really cash in on it when we did have enough. And close to the line, we got held up. That's just an absolute disaster just before half time. We just didn't. We just were just a little bit off, and it's I have to have another look at the video, but. Some of the opportunities we had to counter-attack as well, we didn't. We had a plan for that, and we didn't quite complete it. It was frustrating because I could. If I've sort of been here enough with the team to know that, I played that game in my mind during the week. I think it was playing out in my mind during the game, and that's why I felt good about half time. I just felt we were winning the territory battle. We had enough opportunity, but we just didn't quite finish it off. We just had to do that in the second half, and then we scored. We got back in the game, but then the last 20 we didn't cash in at all. So we've been bloody good at finishing the games. Last 6-7 weeks have probably been our strength, but we didn't finish tonight well.
So,
Happy?
Yeah, I just wanted to find out maybe what you said during that halftime team talk, because when the team came back, they just looked a little bit better. Maybe if you could just talk us through the emotions in the dressing room.
No, I just felt the Bulls were running at us in defence, and we weren't running at them, and we just didn't have the gain line that we've had in recent weeks. And you've got to give some credit to the Bulls' defence. I thought they were really good. They're coming off the line, but we weren't coming at them hard enough, and that was the main message, really. Just had to tidy up a few of our skill sets around and catch pass, but I just felt, and we started doing it after half time, and then we got back in the game, but then we sort of lost our way a little bit. But again, you play in this environment with a crowd like that, and with a home team. They're always going to spur you on. So the Bulls didn't go away. They just hung tough, and that's what they needed to do. So credit to them, because if they had creaked, we would have got them. And they were pretty good defensively, and they took a couple of those opportunities to score, which hurt us. So yeah.